of people go traveling during the summer, and I guarantee quite a few of them may use their GPSs. Use the GPS because it gives you direction where you're going, especially if you have no clue where you are going. It can also tell you what lies ahead, like if there's a cop ahead. I mean, you ever had that ring out for you? Or there's the traffic is going to slow down, or it's going to come to a stop. And if you're looking at your GPS, at least on mine when I use it, when you see the all red, you know, oh, we're going to be standing still for a while. But usually it tries to tell you the fastest route. Usually. All right. The other day, John and I were visiting some friends over in New Hampshire, and we needed to get out of the location we were in. And so we put in, Joy put in the GPS, and it started taking us away from home. It was really weird. I said, this is not the way to go. And so I got us back on the way to go after we got out of the city of Keene, and we were back on the way. But, you know, it's GPSs can be on and they can be off. If you know, rely on that, sometimes you're in deep trouble. But we use GPS because it's nice to have. It's handy to have. Usually it gets you where you're going. And wouldn't it be nice if you had a life GPS? That all you had to do in your life is take out your phone and go, all right, where am I going today? What am I doing today? Oh, I better avoid that because, oh, it's red. Let me go over here where it's blue. The road is blue. And wouldn't that be great if you had something like that? That it would, you know, work things out and everything's usually smooth and, you know, and wonderful. It tells you what to avoid, where to turn, but unfortunately, we don't have that, do we? We end up just putting one foot in front of the other as we're taking this journey we called life. And I want you to turn to Matthew chapter 20. We're going to do 3 verses today, page 1406. And as we continue to go through the Gospel of Matthew, I looked at this and it came out that it just spoke about a journey, a road that is to be traveled. And we're going to see what Jesus's road was, where Jesus had to travel. And that through it all, there was a spiritual GPS that guided Jesus. That there was something there that said, this is where you're going, this is how it's going to be done. And I think it's going to speak to us today that we may not understand where life may lead, but we got to trust in the one who is guiding and directing us. So let's go to verse 17 as I read that. Now, as Jesus was going up to Jerusalem, now, you notice it says up. Well, why does it say up? It doesn't say just going to Jerusalem, up, because the city of Jerusalem was on a hill. And to get there, you had to go up an elevation. So this is actually speaking a little bit of truth to people. Hey, Jerusalem is up. Matthew's been there. Matthew's done it. He's speaking it. He's telling it like it is. So when they're talking about going up, they're going up and they're walking up. And sometimes your journey may be hard like that. You feel like you're walking uphill. And there's a big difference, walking uphill versus downhill. Just if you want to take a nice test, just go out of here, walk down the road, go to 4 corners and walk back. Let me tell you, when you go down, it's going to be fairly easy. When you walk up, some of you are going to be breathing pretty hard. All right. And so, you know, going up, there's an elevation. But then it says this, he took the 12 disciples aside. Now, this is interesting because I think what it's referring to, why does he take them aside? Because I assume there's a crowd there. Rather than just stopping and turning to the disciples and telling them something, he says, guys, come over here. Let's get away from the crowd. Come over here. I got to talk to you about something. Because the crowd is following him. The crowd is why they had witnessed a lot of miracles and they want to see more. You know, it's like you go to something and it was great. You want more. And this is, I think, what some of the people were thinking. I want more. They heard him teach and they wanted more, right? They may have even been curious curious about who this Jesus was and why are all these people following him. Maybe to get a better idea, maybe to hear for themselves. And then I think others believed that Jesus was Messiah, and now he's going to Jerusalem. Now, this is key. If you're going to do anything big, if you're going to make a name for yourself, you don't go to Podunk, Nazareth. You go to the big city and you make a name for yourself by going to the big city. So he's on his way to Jerusalem. He's traveling that journey. And so the people are going, oh, is he going to make this? Is he going to, yeah, he's going to do something big. All right. And they wanted to be there. They wanted to be present with him. And so this is why I think Jesus had to say, hey, there's a crowd there. Come on, come to the side and let's talk for a minute. Let's talk. Why? Well, as we've been going through Matthew here, you're getting the idea that the disciples are still focused on this earthly kingdom, that Jesus is going to be the Messiah to rule, and they're all concerned about, what am I going to get out of this? We gave up everything to follow. Well, Jesus has been trying to address this. One, with a conversation with a rich young ruler. You know, it's not about how much you earn or get. Are you following Jesus because you love Jesus with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength? And then it talks about the parable we just covered, where the workers in the vineyard. I mean, everyone was going, well, they got more than me and he worked less. You know, I should have got more. I mean, the idea is about God's grace. God is generous. But then if you go down a little bit further, verses 20 to 28, what do you have? Once again, people are thinking about what? Who has the best seat in the house? I mean, now you have the mother of Zebedee's sons, okay, James and John. She comes and does what? All right. She says, man, I want my sons to be on your left and your right. Can you see that happen? What are they concerned about? In the focus in this section, they're focused on, what are we going to get? Jesus is going to be great. I want to be at his right hand. I want to get all these big rewards. And Jesus has to set the record straight. It's time for a reality check for the disciples, because what are they thinking? Just like the crowds, they're on their way to Jerusalem. They're walking towards Jerusalem. Is this when Jesus is going to make his move? Is this the time he's going to do it? Is he going to claim to be the Messiah in the capital? Is he going to bring in his kingdom? This is what we've been waiting for. And Jesus takes them aside and says, wait a second, guys. This is not it. You need to understand something. The purpose for why I came. The reason for why I came. It's not to be a worldly leader. It's not to kick out Rome. There's another reason I'm here. See, the disciples were on, they thought, a road to royalty. They thought they were following the king. Oh, look at, we're with Jesus. Yeah, this is awesome. You know, that's what they were thinking, but it was a different road for Jesus. A very different road. You see, Jesus wasn't going to be elevated onto a throne. He was going to be elevated on a cross. Let's go into verse 18 and 19. He knew this. He tells them, we are going to Jerusalem, and the Son of Man will be betrayed. Woo. Betrayed. That means there's someone in the group is going to do something. He's going to be betrayed. And then will be, betrayed to the chief priest and the teachers of the law. Now they already knew what? Jesus already had trouble with the religious leaders. And now this person's betraying him, is going to give him over to religious leaders, and that's not going to be good. They will condemn him to death. That's not what you want to hear when you're following somebody. When you're saying, man, this is the dude. This is going to be the king. You're saying, oh, what? You're saying you're going to die? You're condemned to death? They will turn him over to the Gentiles, meaning the Romans. And the Romans could care less about Jews. I mean, if they wanted to hit you, they'd hit you. They wanted to spit on you, they could spit on you. Why? Because you are considered the scum of the earth. And so he says that he's going to be turned over to the Gentiles to be what? Mocked, flogged, Jesus says, I am going to experience some tough stuff here in Jerusalem. It's not going to be a party. It's not going to be a celebration. I'm not going to be risen to a throne. No, he says this, and crucified. And they all knew what that means because they had seen it. They had seen people crucified on crosses. And because when it was done in the most public place. The most public place to humiliate somebody, to be an example to the rest of you. If you do something to Rome, you're paying the price. And Jesus is saying here, I am going to be crucified. I am going to die. Man, is that what you want to hear when you're on your way to Jerusalem thinking he's going to do what? Take over his throne. Bring in great victory over Rome. No, this is not it. I love how it just keeps going because this is a private moment between Jesus and his disciples, and he's breaking the news to them, and he's telling them exactly what's going to happen. It's not a throne, it's a cross. Now, this is the third time in Matthew he has mentioned this. Back in chapter 16, before he begins the journey to Jerusalem, he mentions this. But he just mentions the following. If you want to look back, verse 21 of chapter 16, it says, from that time on, Jesus began to explain to his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem and suffer many things at the hands of the chief priests and teachers of the law, and he must be killed. He told them once already. Where are the disciples' heads? If I told you, hey guys, I'm going to walk out of here today, I'm going to go home, there's some people going to be waiting there, they're going to beat me up, and then they're going to kill me, you're going to be not going to be saying, oh, that's nice, Ed. You're going to be thinking, no, Ed, don't go home, don't do this, don't go that way. But here, it didn't sink in, because Jesus in chapter 17, he also speaks to them in verse 23. And he says, 22 and 23, the Son of Man is going to be betrayed into the hands of men, and they will kill him, and on the third day he will rise to life. Once again, he tells them what's going to happen. Once again, where's their mind? We've already seen in the last few sections that they're thinking about kingdom on earth, the reward I'm going to get. They're not thinking about, oh, Jesus is going to die. And even James and John's mother, as you're going to find out soon, that she's not even thinking that. She's thinking, put my son on the right and the left hand, and, let him rule with you. That's going to be great. Right, Jesus? It's going to be awesome. So here, Jesus, for the third time, is trying to get their attention. But are they listening? I don't think so. I think their minds are dreaming about what could be or what should be. All right? And they're excited as they approach the city. So I don't think they're really listening here. And in this part, this is where Jesus gets really detailed. He says exactly, it's just not, hey, I'm going to suffer. He gives great detail on what is going to happen. All these things are going to happen. And he predicts it all. Why? He's showing them he is the Son of God, because only God knows the future. But he's also fulfilling prophecy. If you go back to Psalm 22 or Isaiah 53, it speaks clearly of what's going to happen to, the Son of Man. All right, and Jesus is telling them exactly what's going to happen. Now, this is a real downer, but then it says this, on the third day he will be raised to life. Jesus doesn't leave them in a down moment. He's trying to say, this is what's going to happen, but guess what? There's good news. I'm going to rise again. I'm going to blow your minds. Well, where are they at? Oh, Jesus is going to be great. Where am I going to fit in the kingdom? What's my reward? Jesus is spelling it out for them, and they still don't get it. Because I'm looking after this, I'm looking for, where's the rest of the conversation? It just ends right here. Why doesn't someone say, like Peter, for example, good person, Jesus, what are you talking about? Jesus, no, that shouldn't be right. No, Jesus, that's not going to be. No one says anything. It's almost as if Matthew is saying this, let this sink in. Do you understand? And he doesn't say anything more. So it's sinking into the reader and the listener so that they will get the idea that Jesus came for something different. There was a difference there. And so I want to go over this a little briefly. I want to call it the road traveled. And in this, there's going to be two sections. One, the first side is going to be this, to the cross, which is Jesus. And then on the other side is us in life. There's a road that we have to travel in life. Let's see how Jesus took this when he knew he was going to go to the cross. See, he knew. He knew exactly what was going to happen. You say the first point is this. Throw it up there. He knew what was to come. He knew it. He knew exactly what was going to happen. He knew there was going to be abuse. He knew there was going to be ridicule. He knew there was going to be rejection. And he knew there was going to be a cross. He knew there was going to be physical pain. Think about that. How many of you look forward to having physical pain? No. If you know physical pain is coming, what are you going to do? You're going to do something to avoid it if you know it's coming. Jesus knew there was going to be physical pain. He also knew there was going to be emotional pain. What emotional pain? Have you ever been betrayed by somebody you trusted? You ever been denied by someone you trusted? Have you ever been rejected by the very people you were trying to help? Emotional pain dealing with that. Jesus also knew there was going to be mental pain because as we go, gets close to the cross. He goes, Dad, come on. Is there another way? This is emotional pain, mental pain. This is anguish. Then he also knows he's going to be abandoned, that he's going to be basically on the cross. And only John and some ladies are strong enough to stay there, have enough courage to stay there with him. And the rest of them do what? Run away like scared little girls. And he's going to be abandoned. Also, the mental pain is he knows he's going to be separated from his Father for a period of time. Remember, my God, why did you forsake me? He knew that. So all this abuse, this ridicule, the rejection, people betraying him, yet the future is not a surprise to him. He knows. And even though he knew, what did he do? He continued to walk. He continued to walk towards Jerusalem, where all this would happen. And I want you to think about this. In the road to life, this is a point for you. You know you're going to face tribulations. You just live in a world that's going to throw you some curveballs. You know you live in a world that there's going to be trials. You know you live in a world there's going to be health issues. You know you live in a world there's going to be financial issues. You know you live in a world where all these things are going to happen. And the question for you, when things don't look good and the trials are coming, are you going to keep walking? Are you going to keep walking? And when I say keep walking, I'm meaning, are you still going to stay faithful in the faith, even though all these things are falling apart? Your health is going down the tubes. Your finances are going down the tubes. Are you going to keep walking? Next point. Number 2, Jesus was courageous. He knew what was going to happen. He knew it. And what is courage? Let's get a definition for you. Courage, it isn't the absence of fear, but rather the mental strength to take action and persevere despite fearful moments or difficult circumstances. That is courage. Let's go back to the list. So, Jesus had courage. You want to go back? Go back to that, Elliot. Somebody was copying down, so we'll let them copy it down. All right, you're taking notes. All right, good. All right, just ask and you shall receive that your joy may be full. All right. So no, go back. Go back. They're still copying. Don't jump until I give you the okay. And when Susan gives me the thumb up, then okay, she gave me the thumbs up. That means we can go forward. Anybody else? No? All right, now move, Elliot. All right, Jesus was courageous. He knew what was laying ahead. He knew it was going to be difficult. He knew he was going to suffer. But he had courage to say, I'm going to keep walking. How about you in life? Do you have courage that when you are facing something difficult, are you saying, God, even though it's difficult, I'm going to keep on moving. I'm going to still hold on to the faith. I'm going to keep going. Is that you? Or do you look at the circumstance and say, run away? No. Next is this. Jesus willingly obeyed. His Father sent him. Father said, this is what you're going to do. And Jesus knew it from the very beginning, what he was in store for. Yet he said, all right, Dad, this is what we're going to do. Now, there is any other way? No, there's no other way. Can you imagine if Jesus said, I don't think so. Or, I think I'm going to walk a different direction. I'm going to go a different road. I mean, this is requiring too much of me. No, I don't want to. Like a little kid, I don't want to. Do you think, what would happen if Jesus said that? Well, but Jesus wasn't a victim. This just didn't happen out of the blue, and Jesus goes, oh, I didn't know this. No, he willingly went because he obeyed, and he did it to save you and me. So, in our life, are you going to be obedient? Are you going to say to God, yeah, God, I know it's tough. I'm going to obey your word. God, I know I'm going to face trials and tribulations, but I'm going to obey your word. I know peer pressure. They're going to tell me now. Peer pressure is not just for teens. I tell you, it's for adults too. I've seen adults cave as easier than sometimes teens. Teens at least think they're can do everything. But people cave. Are you going to be obedient when everyone else is going off doing their own thing? Are you going to say, yeah, I'm going to hang in there no matter what because I know this is right? And when it's hard, are you going to obey? When it's difficult, are you going to keep the faith? A lot of people who professed faith years ago are not walking with Jesus now. You know why? Life got hard. And their opinion was that if life is hard, there's no God, therefore I'm leaving. Jesus never said, you're going to be walking through a garden with no thorns. You're going to come across some roses that are going to stick you. And it's going to hurt. But you're going to continue. And are you going to be obedient? Next point for Jesus, on his road to the cross, he trusted God. This was God's plan. God was going to take this horrible thing called crucifixion and change it into something beautiful, the salvation of you and me. You see, only a good God can take something bad and make it good. And Jesus said, man, I trust you. I'm putting my life on the line for you. And he kept on walking. And he kept on going. And he trusted God through all this, that the plan and the purpose was going to happen. And then for you, in the road to life, are you going to trust God? Are you going to say, God, I trust you completely. I don't understand, but I trust you completely. I don't know why I'm going through this, but I trust you completely. I'm suffering, but I trust you completely. God, take that which is bad and make it good and allow it to flow out of me. Do you trust God? Then, as we go on, Jesus was confident in victory. Because you know what he said? I'm going to rise again. I'm not going to stay dead. I'm going to live. And I'm going to conquer death. And I'm going to overcome death. You see, there was suffering, but it was followed by victory. There was humiliation, but it was followed by glory. There was death, but it was followed by life. And Jesus knew this, so he kept on walking. For you, boom, be confident in your faith. Be confident that in the end, God has something good for you. It may be on this earth, it may be in the next life, but God has it. This is not a question of whether Jesus will walk the road to the cross. He already has. The question for you today is whether you will follow him during difficult times, trying circumstances. Are you going to keep on walking because you have hope? That hope motivates you. That hope moves in you because Jesus already claimed the victory. So as you look at this, Jesus knew he had the godly GPS, and he knew there was red on the road. He knew there was accidents on the road, yet he kept walking. Are you going to keep on walking in the midst of what you know, in the midst of what you are experiencing? You will if you know you're going to face tribulations. If you have the courage to face those things, you're going to be obedient to God, you're going to trust God, and you have confidence that God's going to do it. That's your faith. That's what you're holding on to. Think about that today. Because there's some of you here that are going through it. Some of you have already been through it. Some of you haven't been in it yet, but it's coming. It always comes. I've lived long enough to know that life is going to do some stuff to you. But you know what? This is the world we live in. So are we going to stand up and say, God, I am going to keep walking?